Order, if you will please join me in saying the pledge to the flag.
The United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I planted cabbage tonight and
All right, we have special recognition, I believe, tonight.
Yes, Madam
can
Chair,
start with
we
that.
do. Good evening. Tonight, we have one employee and several students who are very deserving of recognition. When I call your name, please come forward to accept your certificate from Mrs. Abigail Coggin, who is our board chair. Tammy Privet. Miss Privet, we are so very proud to have Miss Privet here this evening, as she was recently selected as the Newton County School System's 2015 Media Specialist of the Year. Ms. Privet was one of three finalists for the Newton County School System Media Specialist of the Year, and each of the three finalists submitted essays that were reviewed by a panel of judges. The essays were judged on the following criteria: leadership role through staff development, committee involvement or professional advocacy, involvement in professional organizations, promotion of information technology utilization and literacy, promotion of reading and literature, involving parents and or the community in the library media program as partners, working collaboratively with the educators in her building, innovative techniques used in the library media program, and deliberate and ongoing professional development as the learner she is, which is all relevant to her media work. The three finalists also participated in 20-minute interviews with the judges. Ms. Privet had the highest score of the three finalists. As the winner, she will now represent the Newton County School System in the South Metro District Library Media Specialist of the Year competition, part of the Georgia Library Media Specialist of the Year program. Congratulations, Ms. Privet. We wish you the best of luck in the regional competition. We are very proud. Next, I'd like to recognize our school system's top scientists. I'm proud to announce that we had 6 students who won awards at the recent Georgia Science and Engineering Fair. Each of these students had to win first place in both our school system and our Griffin-Risa Regional Science Fair in order to participate in the state science fair. When I call your name, please come forward to accept your certificate of recognition. Jade Kofer. Jade attends the Newton County Theme School at Fickwit, and she won 3rd place in the state science fair with her project, The Brain Study. Do people focus more on words or shapes? Michaela Cole. Michaela is a student at Indian Creek Middle School. In addition to her 3rd place award, Michaela also won the Telus Science Museum's Outstanding Exhibit Award with her project, Stain, Stain, Go Away. Ava Jane Teasley. Ava also attends Indian Creek Middle School, and she won a 3rd place award and the Best in Category Animal Sciences Junior Division Award with her project, Preventing a Pain in the Butt 2.0. Mason Garrett. Mason is a student at the Newton County Theme School at Fickwit. He won 4th place at the State Science Fair with his project, 3, 2, 1, Splash Off. Devin Goolsby. Devin attends Liberty Middle School. He won a 4th place award and the Student Choice. Never would have thought of that award for his project. So that's the Student Choice Award. Never would have thought of that award for his project, Chains versus Boosters. Annalise. I always want to call you Annalise for some reason, but Annalise Siders. Annalise attends Newton County Theme School at Fickwit. She won the Telus Science Museum's Outstanding Exhibit Award, alternate for her project, Dogs or Cats. If I could have those of you stand up that I just called out one more time. If you just stand. We'd like to congratulate each of you and recognize you as our very talented scientists. Congratulations to you all. Thank you. Next, I'd like to recognize our musically gifted students who are very deserving of special recognition. This year, we have had 4 students who were selected to participate in the Georgia All-State Chorus program. Students selected to be in the Georgia All-State Chorus Ensemble are among the most accomplished vocalists in the state of Georgia. The Georgia Music Educators Association recognizes these vocalists and provides an opportunity for them to work as an ensemble with some of the best clinicians and vocal teachers in the country. Making all-state chorus is no easy task. The very challenging auditions consist of memorizing a solo and performing it before judges, reading examples of music that have never been seen before with no assistance, singing memorized scales for judges, and taking a written test with listening examples, Italian vocabulary words, tempos, key signatures, and more. And that's only for the first audition. Selection for All-State Chorus represents the highest recognition for individual student vocalists in our state and will most likely result in college scholarship offers when they graduate and apply to a college or university of their choice. Students, when I call your name, please come forward to accept your certificate of recognition. Jacob Smith from Eastside High School. Congratulations. Matthew Dean from Eastside High School. Congratulations. Cameron Campbell, Eastside High School. Ava Jane Teasley, India Creek Middle School. Ava Jane is not only a talented scientist, she's a gifted singer too. And I'm going to ask you guys to do the same thing if you would just stand up where you are one more time so we could recognize you. Let's congratulate our all-state chorus students. Thank you so very much. Great job. Finally, we are very excited to have the members of the Eastside High School academic team here this evening. If you've seen the local papers, you'll know that the Eastside academic team recently won the Division IV state championship after cruising through the competition at the Georgia Academic Team Association State Championship Tournament held at Collins Hill High School on March the 21st. Academic Team, or Quiz Bowl as it is commonly known, is a competition featuring buzzers like Jeopardy, in which teams of 4 or 5 students compete against others, answering questions over the entire spectrum of the high school curriculum. Unlike Jeopardy, the questions are much greater in depth and lack the trivia aspect with which the game is often misassociated. It combines a blend of individual competition and team collaboration. Approximately 60 teams competed in the state championship tournament, with Eastside competing in Division IV. Over the course of 8 rounds, Eastside emerged with a 7-1 record. Chamblee High School came in second, Bainbridge High School placed third, Howard High School and St. Pius rounded out the top 5. The Eastside High School academic team will next compete on the national stage when they travel to Chicago for the National Academic Quiz Tournament's High School National Championship Tournament. Eastside will be among the 272 best Quiz Bowl teams in the country competing for the national title. This will be Eastside's second trip to a national championship. They competed in Atlanta in 2012. I will now ask the members of Eastside's academic team to come forward to receive their certificates. Anna Davis. Great job. Kayla Kennedy. Great job. Carly Travis, who is unable to be here this evening as she has a soccer game. Will Gregory, who is not here this evening as he has a soccer game as well. Jackson Hall. Matthew Briscoe. Great job, Matthew. Dylan Diamond. Great job, Dylan. Andrew Robinson. And Andrew is not here this evening. Those of you who are members of the academic team, would you please stand just one more time so we can recognize you again? Congratulations to each of you for a job well done. We wish you the best of luck in the national competition. I can't say enough, parents and family, we appreciate your support and that you are here this evening. This is the best part of the work that we do, is getting to recognize our students for their accomplishments. Our board and I especially love to bring them forward and to celebrate their hard work and dedication. And we know absolutely that without the support of their families, that they would not be sitting where they are today. So thank you very much to everybody who is here. This actually concludes our portion of the board meeting that is for special recognition. And typically, this is the time of the meeting that if you do not wish to stay to hear the board meeting in itself, that everybody typically vacates the premises. However, if you wish to stay, we would love to have you here this evening. Madam Chair, that concludes our recognition.
All right, thank you.
It's a great job.
Exactly.
Randy, how are you? Oh, he's got another one? Oh, you know what? I did see that. I think I saw you mention that. That's awesome, Randy. I know you're proud. That's my classmate. Oh, okay. Great job. Poor little cousins and you.
Did you all three? All right. While they're finishing exiting, do we have any public participation, Miss Allen or Miss Lanier? Okay. All right, then we'll move on. I need a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I need a motion to approve our minutes for the evening.
So move.
Second.
Second. It's been approved and seconded. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, superintendent's reports. Ms. Robinson will take our financial report.
Good evening.
Good evening.
The Newton County School System SPLOST 4 distribution is $866,770, which is an increase of $39,632 from last month's collection. The average for the first 2 months of SPLOST 4 collections is $846,954. The monthly average for SPLOST 3 was $881,483. The February TABT collection was $54,740. Property tax revenue collections are 96.25% collected this year versus 92.97% collected last year at this time. Expenditures are within budget at 72.52% spent, with 75% of the year complete. Are there any questions?
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Operations, Dr. Lockhart.
Yes, Madam Chair, a few items to bring to your attention. Maintenance and operations. Maintenance received 1,048 work requests in March, with 853 having been completed. There are 195 remaining work orders in progress. School transportation. Average per gallon cost for diesel fuel purchased during March was $2.26. In March 2014, the average cost of fuel was $3.39. Just a few items in school nutrition. Number 2, a total of over 146,000 breakfast meals were served in March. Item 3, a total of over 327 lunches were served in March. Item 4, the Georgia DOE school nutrition staff conducted a 4-day review of the school nutrition program from March 24th through March 27th. They visited 4 schools: Eastside, Newton High, Cousins Middle, and Middle Ridge Elementary. The school nutrition program received several commendations. The DOE staff had 4 official findings, and all 4 were resolved during the review. It was a very, very strong review. Very proud of the work that they did over in the SNP department. And that concludes the operations report, unless there are any questions.
Do we have any questions? If there are none, we'll move on to our curriculum and instruction technology report.
Yes, ma'am. CIT report, just a few items to bring to your attention. Item 2, March was officially designated by the National Association for Music Education for the observance of Music in Our Schools Month. This is the time of year when music education becomes the focus of schools across the nation. Thank you to our band, chorus, and music teachers. They've been doing an outstanding job throughout the year, so we're really proud of what's happening with our music program here in Newton County. I want to next turn your attention to a few celebrations. Page 3, item 15. Marketing students from all high schools competed in the state DECA competition in March. All of our schools and students did well, and we're proud to say 2 of the students from the College and Career Academy qualified to move on to compete at the International DECA competition in Orlando, Florida later this year. 16. Engineering and technology students from Alcova, Eastside, and College and Career Academy competed in the state TSA competition in March. Several students from each school were among the top 10 in their events and will be advancing to the national competition in Dallas, Texas this summer. Additionally, we had an Eastside student who was elected as the 2015-16 Georgia TSA State Sergeant at Arms. The student, along with 6 other students from across the state, will represent TSA as student leaders. Last item to bring to your attention, item 17. Construction, graphic design, and video broadcasting students from the College and Career Academy competed in the Skills USA State competition in March. Several students were honored as finalists, and one of those students won first place in the state in the customer service category. And that student will advance to the national competition held in Louisville, Kentucky this summer. So when you look at what's happening here, as well as some of the acknowledgments that were made earlier tonight, we have a lot of students who are competing at a national level here in Newton County. So just very proud of the work that they do. And that concludes my portion of the CIT report at this time, Madam Chair. We have a presentation. Would you like me to go ahead with the enrollment report? Or
That'd be great. Go ahead with the enrollment report.
okay, enrollment report as of April 2015. We're currently sitting at 19,738 students. That's an increase over last year, which was 19,417. That's an increase of 321 students more than we had this time last year, Madam Chair.
All right, thank you. Any questions for the enrollment report or the operations? All right.
And at this time, we'll turn the floor over to Ms. Fury.
Ms. Fury will handle our presentation.
Just have to wait for the little slide advancer to connect to the computer, so it takes a second. So tonight we will be talking about flexibility in the Newton County school system. This flexibility is actually driven by the law. The state of Georgia, in Article 4 OCGA, State Statute 20-2-84, has dictated that each local school system notify the Georgia Department of Education of its intention to operate as an investing in educational excellence school system, or otherwise known as an IE² school system, a charter school system, or a status quo school system. The notification must be received by the Georgia Department of Education no later than June 30th, 2015. The options. Status quo, that is the option that provides no flexibility from state regulations. It causes the school system to remain a traditional school system. Charter system. There's some flexibility from state regulations, and the focus in a charter system is a change in governance structure. Investing in educational excellence, or IE squared, there is some flexibility from state regulations, and the focus is on student achievement. Those are the options in the flexibility model presented through the law. The contract. So with IE squared and charter systems, you are required to develop a 5-year performance contract. The main parts of the performance contracts are the academic and other targets. So you have to set goals and targets for which you are striving to reach, and you use waivers to achieve your academic goals and targets, waivers from state regulations, Title 20. These contracts seek to balance accountability with some autonomy offered through waivers. The IE squared option. The focus is to improve student achievement as measured by the College of Career Ready Performance Index, to increase the CCRPI score without challenge points by 3% of the gap between the baseline year score and 100. And the baseline year scores for the CCRPI will be captured in 2015-16. So what you will see whenever the scores are developed and put together for this year, we think it won't come out until probably December or January of next year, given the new state testing. That data will not be the data that is used. It will be for the next school year that is the baseline data. So it will be built on the assessments and data during the 15-16 school year. Schools demonstrating a trend of improvement and meeting the equivalent of 3 years of targeted improvement by the end of the contract will be deemed as meeting accountability requirements. Schools in the top quartile are required to maintain or improve their level of performance. And this is addressing schools that are high-performing schools and are in the top level of the CCRPI score. So they have a bigger challenge to continue to move forward. So the regulation allows for that school to maintain its current status if they fall in the top quartile, or to set another target and keep moving forward as well. The IE squared option also offers a second look option for schools that don't reach the CCRPI target. They are deemed as meeting yearly performance targets if they are determined to be beating the odds through an analysis of that compares the schools, it could be a school or multiple schools, with schools of similar demographics. So they look at who's in the building, what the economically disadvantaged rate is, and all of the different factors that might contribute to a school's performance. Example information. On the top part of the previous slide, we talked about this very same information, or I talked about it. The increasing the CCRPI score by 3% of the gap between the baseline year score and 100, and what does that look like? So let's just say that your baseline year score, so 2015-16, your CCRPI score without challenge points, and what that means, the challenge points, means that they're just looking at everybody in the school and they're not disaggregating data by demographics. So it's just a total picture of the school. They take the challenge points out. Let's just say the score was 70%. The difference is the gap between 100 and then what the score was, which is 70. There's a gap of 30 points. 3% of 30 is 0.9. So the school would then, the targets would be developed and set to show over the 5 years an increase of 0.9 until the expiration of the 5-year performance contract with the state and the Georgia Department of Education and the Georgia Office of Student Achievement. The IE squared option, schools not meeting the CCRPI target, and there's a little asterisk up there because I want to make sure everybody's clear about what the target is, may be required to develop school improvement plans to address specific academic deficiencies, develop a joint plan with direct school management support and intensive teacher and leader development. At the end of the contract, the Georgia Office of Student Achievement will recommend consequences to the State Board of Education for non-performing schools that may include probation, remedial action plans, conversion to a charter school, operation by a successful school system or school operator, review of additional system developed recommendations. So during the application process, the school system defines what happens when schools don't meet their performance targets. And those are some of the choices that we could look at. The asterisk at the top, target, what the target is a combination of any 3 years within the 5-year contract that a school has met the 3% gap change or the second look. So they don't have to be 3 consecutive years. It can be year 1, year 3, and year 5. And then they would have satisfied the terms of the contract. They don't have to do it every single year, although that would be absolutely our goal as a school system under this model. The charter option. The charter option dictates that we implement and maximize school-level governance, describe school-level governance team decision-making authority, list specific innovations to be implemented by the system to improve student performance, including any initiatives outside of the domain of the local school governance team, and include district-requested additions to the standard performance measures. So standard performance measures are your CCRPI scores. The district would then develop other measures and add that to the application and then monitor those as well. Organize and train school governance teams. The status quo option. There is no request or requirement for increased flexibility. There's no required performance contract. There's no freedom from Title 20, state board regulations, or department guidelines, which the waivers allow us flexibility from some of the things in Title 20 in state board regs or department guidelines. For example, we could request a waiver, and it can't be that we waive state testing, which falls under those guidelines, and also falls under federal requirements as well. No waivers unless there's extraordinary circumstances. So we have waivers for class size reduction as well as for our middle school alternative program. Under the status quo option, we would not be eligible for those waivers. But no change is required, although there is a plan as well that would have to be developed for a status quo option if that were the board's choice to move to. Next steps. So you would approve a resolution to determine which flexibility model you would like to implement. We would send a letter of intent to the State Department of Education and the Georgia Office of Student Achievement. Develop a timeline for flexibility option plan development. Once approved by the Department of Education, we would begin the development of a draft flexibility option plan. And that would be a joint effort between the administration and the board. And we would work on the development of a plan, considering our strategic plan and the work that we have underway. We would schedule a DOE, the administration would schedule a DOE pre-submission meeting, which we would meet with the Georgia Department of Education and the Georgia Office of Student Achievement. Make required revisions, because from the pre-submission meeting, there may be suggestions that they would like for us to make in our application. And then we would make those revisions for their approval. Then we would conduct public hearings to share the application and then gather feedback about the application. Finalize the flexibility option plan. Then board approval of that plan. Submit and await approval from the State Department. And then we would have to have our contract signed by the State Board of Education chair, the state superintendent, the board chair, and the system superintendent as well. Our plan development would begin as soon as we developed a timeline, and the bullets 1 and 2 are taken care of. The next school year would be used to develop the plan itself and get the approvals, and then would be set to implement in the 2016-17 school year through and the plan would be good through 2020, which is amazing, 2020 through 2021. It seems like it's so far away, but it's actually just right around the corner, 2020 and 2021. Any questions?
All right, thank you. Any questions?
Yes, I have one. Would we have the option of selecting the status quo initially and observing what benefits there are, specifically financial, and at a later date select another option?
That's a great question. The contract is actually a 5-year contract. So you would be under the terms of the contract that you signed, that we all agree to with the State Department. But it is my understanding that if we wish to change to another model, I'm not sure if you have to wait until the end of the 5-year cycle. I don't know whether or not you have to absolutely wait until the end of the 5-year cycle, but the contract is for 5 years. I haven't seen or heard of anyone at this point where they have selected an option and then, and some school systems are already, have done this work already, and I have not seen where they have opted to make the adjustment.
Okay, one other one. In the brochure here, it states there are financial incentives.
Yes, the financial incentives are
Yeah.
the waivers. So we have a class size waiver and we have a middle school waiver. And if we select the status quo option, then we are no longer eligible for those waivers. So then the school system would have to go back to the class size regulations that the state has put forward, and when you have one student over that number, we would have to hire teachers. So the financial incentive is that with the class size waiver, we're not having to expend money for one student over class size. The middle school alternative school waiver is for time. So the high school alternative school does not have to, the time is fine, but for middle school, the waiver that we have allows for us to have a shortened day. Without that, we would have to restructure a middle school alternative school program, which would not be cost saving for the district. It would cost us more money. So the financial savings comes in the form of being able to request the waivers that we currently have and then explore any other opportunities for additional waivers that we would not be granted under status quo.
I hear you, and also I have concluded, right, wrong, or indifferent, that it appears to be a penalty or just an effort by our lawmakers to destroy public education as we know it. Now, I don't see it as if we got a class that's over by 2 and we're in the status quo and they won't let us exercise that flexibility. That is a direct slap in the taxpayer's pocket that we have to do. That's incredible.
Mr. Johnson?
I know it's not your decision, but I take that I'm entitled, I believe,
Yes.
to my appointment. Not directed. This is not directed at you as an individual. Please understand that.
I am presenting the information that we are required to submit by
well,
June 30th.
you
Whether
have-
I love it or not is irrelevant, so.
You're the first one of that you can talk to.
I am, I appreciate that feedback, and we have, as a district, toiled and struggled with that very same thought process. Having a traditional school system, also known as a status quo school system. We do a pretty good job in our school system as we are, but unfortunately, if we are to accomplish our objectives of our budget objectives, we cannot afford to not have the waivers that we currently have, and that's just the reality.
Well, I have a couple of concerns, and I guess I talked to some of the representatives as to how I felt about the laws that's coming down. It seems as though that there's this trend to make public schools look like they're not doing the things that they should be doing. And if the trend is to say that private schools are better than public schools, why don't they allow us to do the same things the private schools do and not have to jump through the hoops that we have to jump through. In my opinion, we don't have a select group of students that we have to teach each and every year and every day. We have a large group of transit people moving in and out. It's my opinion, with this 5-year interval, we're not doing an adequate evaluation of a student's progress, because each year we're getting a new set of students. So at that 5-year period, from what I understand, what I've read, there's no grading mechanism in place to determine how each of those grades are doing from K to the 5th grade. So really, they putting some things in place that they have no earthly idea what the success is going to be. My second opinion is, once the school is determined to be a failing school, and if the governor comes in and takes the school over, we're going to be forced to probably lose teachers, aren't we?
That has yet to be determined, but from the information that I have heard and discussed, it is my understanding that they have a great deal of autonomy under the Opportunity School District model. Of course, it will be a constitutional amendment, so it will appear on the ballot, which our constituents, taxpayers, everybody have the opportunity to have their voices be heard on the day that appears. But it is my understanding that there will be blanket, the way it is currently drafted, blanket opportunity for autonomy from the state, the governor's selection of the superintendent who will run the Opportunity School District. That, from what I understand, Mr. Turner, will not be on the ballot until 2016. And so the idea is that I think there's more to unfold with regard to the details in that plan. So to sort of speak in a blanket kind of way is a little bit difficult. But I do understand that it's possible that the autonomy given to the superintendent would be able to, let's just say, School A, they come in and the option they choose is to reconstitute the school. They could recommend that we release our employees and that they would be able to reconstitute the school with the people of that state superintendent's choice. I'm not sure the implications for our school system, what that means, particularly if we have people under contract, who pays for those people who are no longer at School A. I think those are some of the details that have to be worked out. Because I have also heard if School A is reconstituted and those teachers and staff are under contract, when it's reconstituted with new people, the school system would then potentially be on the hook for the new staff as well, which is a definite negative implication for our budget. Again, but that is all discussion right now. I think that those are the conversations that need to be had so that the implication, if that is an accurate assessment, is corrected, and so that the burden of having a staff that we hired and then paying for their salaries, trying to keep them gainfully employed, as well as a new staff that might be hired as well. So there's some details that definitely need to be worked out. And so we just don't have enough information.
Right. There's another concern that I have, and I've asked and I haven't been given an answer yet, and that is, if they in fact take over, are they going to operate under the same parameters that we have to operate under? And if they're going to change their means of delivery, if it's so much better than what we're doing, why don't they allow us to do it now?
Duly noted.
So I just want to get that out there.
I certainly appreciate your comments, and as a public school advocate, that is my job. I absolutely have great reservations about an Opportunity School District, although we are very fortunate to not have any school on the current list. However, the CCRPI continues to be a moving target. It is not stabilized. They need more time to stabilize the instrument itself. And so I'm not sure that it's a valid instrument to determine whether or not a school is high achieving or not high achieving, or a failing school for that matter. I think that perhaps a better solution would be to, let's look at this instrument over time to see what it really boils down to, because in the 3 years that we've had it, the indicators have changed all over the place. So even trying to compare last year to this year is a struggle.
Exactly.
Although the State Department has said they've made adjustments within the instrument itself, but there are particular indicators that weren't on the first instrument that appear on the second. So I don't know how you reconcile the scores for those to be equal. I don't know how that works. I tend to have a great understanding of the need for us to continue to advocate for our teachers, our staff, our community, and most importantly, our children. Those are the people who we serve, and they have a right to a high-quality education, the best one that we can provide, and I think that that's what we need to focus on as we move forward.
Last thing, and I'm done. I just want to thank your staff, the teachers, and all the other people that plays a part in educating our children for their diligence in sticking with their job and their responsibility, because they love the kids.
Yes.
And having to endure some of the laws that are handed down by government to try to educate our kids, when oftentimes, my opinion, this is not an opinion of the board, I feel that they don't get the input from the ones who are out there in the ditches actually doing the job. And if they did that, I think we'll be much more successful. But thank you all for the job you do.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I have a question, Madam Chairman, if I can. Ms. Fury, under the accountability measure, the second look, hopefully we will not have to get to the second look, but I do have a question about it. Because under the second look, you're saying, and they're saying they'll do a comparison to schools with similar characteristics as ours when it comes to the CCRPI. Now, with that, when they're doing comparison with schools, is it a group of schools? And then do they have a median range where we would have to fall in between the comparison? How does that work out?
I'm not sure, Ms. Henderson Baker, that they have all of the details of that actual plan worked out, but if I'm to base it on the teacher evaluation model, looking at growth from year to year, they would capture a group of schools together that look similar, and then look at where they started and how they're growing together. That would be the logical thing to do.
Okay.
Any other questions about our presentation?
Yes, I have another one. You back to the IE square option, and you made a statement that the financial, we won't have the flexibility financially and enrollment.
Right.
Have we done a comparison what we will be required to lose or gain if we change the enrollment numbers, classroom size, excuse me?
Yeah. If you,
And look at the alternative schedule that we have. What is that costing us? Because I see a financial and a workforce disaster in trying to develop and maintain and collect credible data to do the IE square. So I think, and we are asked to make a financial decision here, and I think we should have that look at the financials before we make a determination as to which model we should be going to. Because the status quo, if we go that way, or whatever it be, then we don't know what the additional cost is.
Yes.
If we go with the IE square, we know what we possibly will be reduced. And we should know those financial penalties.
The class size waiver piece, while I can't speak specifically to numbers, because it depends upon the teachers, the classes, the schools, what the waiver does is it allows us to not have to hire a teacher when you go over by one student in a school. It allows us to, so the the gain is the teacher's salary of roughly $60,000 thereabouts. And so it's hard to predict that because we don't know how many people are going to be in the district next year. So it could be, a $60,000 hit. It could be if we had to hire 5 teachers because we went over in a class, 5 times 60, that's $300,000. So that's why we like to have the class size waiver. We try to keep the classes under number, but if we get there, I don't want to have to hire somebody if we don't have to with the class size number. So I don't have, that's a more challenging number to get simply because the enrollment is a moving target, and we're adequately staffed right now. But if we were to increase by 50 students, 50 more students. Actually, we're not even adequately staffed. We're actually getting ready to make some recommendations about adding some teachers because we are at class size, waiver size. So we're going to have to put teachers out there already. So the trend is not that we're going backwards in size. The trend is that we're moving forward. We're getting larger. So I would hate to have to expend those funds when the competing factor for me is teacher salary. So I'm trying to make an adjustment for teachers in their and classified staff, everybody in their salaries, and I'd rather spend that $300,000 for our staff in their salaries than to hire 6 new teachers that we don't have to hire. So, and then the middle school piece, we'll look at that, and between now and next board meeting, we'll give you some numbers about that.
I think that's, and I can only speak for Eddie Johnson.
I understand.
I think that's critical.
Sure.
In determining how I look at each one of these options.
Absolutely.
Because it is financially impacting, and if I don't have those resources, I don't think I can make an informed decision.
Absolutely.
Okay, all right. Any other questions? If there are none, we will move on. I don't believe we have any old business, so new business. Item A, Dr. Lockhart.
Item A, flexibility option. The superintendent recommends the adoption of a resolution indicating the intent of the Newton County School System and School Board to pursue the investing in educational excellence, i.e. squared flexibility model. And you've just seen the presentation about the 3 options.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Lockhart. Item B, Ms. Buff.
Good evening. The superintendent recommends the approval of the attached contract with Flexible Creativity Incorporated for 26 days of professional learning. District and schools have used Flexible Creativity to support the district's non-negotiable goals over the past 5 years. This plan for next year will include coaching, modeling, and a focus on effective PLCs. And additionally, the school and district instructional coaches will be provided professional learning to enhance their ability to support the teachers. The cost per day is $3,500 plus travel expenses, and it's to be paid out of federal Title I and Title IIA funds.
Okay. Any questions? I have one. How is this different from what we've done in the past?
Well, if you're talking about this year or the year before, previously, the way we have done it is school visits and classroom visits. This will be more professional learning to focus on PLCs, not necessarily the classroom visits. The classroom visits will be handled by the district.
Thank you.
One question. How are we going to deal with the internal measurements of these supporting surfaces here?
I'm not,
Well, we had internal reviews.
Right.
External reviews. And what is the next step? Now, we are eliminating that altogether?
No, sir, we're not going to eliminate that altogether. The way that we're structuring it for next year is that district teams, similar to how we did it this year with Dr. Mulligan, district teams will go and do the reviews together as a team with the principal and the instructional coach.
There won't be any staff folk on there, staff people from here?
Yes, our team, the district team, yes.
And how will that information be disseminated?
To the principals, you mean?
The board, whoever, you're doing the review, somebody should review or be informed about that information
I
together.
would leave that to Ms. Fury to decide.
So, we will be on the teams, and so we will be working with the principals and working with the school level teams on the reviews, which is not only related to this item in that we are continuing the strategic plan. modeling, research-based instructional strategies, building background knowledge and technology integration, and professional learning communities. But the team will be doing quality assurance. Our district team, led by our staff, will go to the buildings, provide the reports and feedback with me and Dr. Lockhart to the principals, and help coach in some respect about delivering that information in a way that supports and helps our staff gather the information to improve.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. All right, item C, Mr. Peck.
Good evening. The superintendent recommends the approval to continue our contract with Renaissance Learning for STAR Universal Screening in the areas of early literacy, reading, and math. We have been using this universal screener since 2010, which replaced Dibbles and Steep Math. So we are asking that we can continue this process. This is also the packaged with AR, the Accelerated Reader Program that we use to assess our students' reading comprehension abilities. It is about $229,000 to be paid with elementary, secondary, and technology budgets.
Okay. Any questions?
Those budget has a time frame of what? What year?
This coming up school year for 15-16.
We haven't made the budget yet, right?
It's in the budget. It's in the budget to, it's a renewal of what we've been doing.
Okay, but, thank you.
All right, if there are no other questions, we will move on to item D. Ms. Lumens.
Good evening. The superintendent recommends the annual renewable contract for ice cream and related products for a school nutrition program be awarded to Bluebell Creameries of Jonesboro, Georgia, be renewed for an additional contract term. The effective date will be April 22nd, 2015 through April the 21st, 2016. This contract was originally awarded on April the 23rd, 2014. It includes ice cream and related products which are sold on an a la carte basis. The vendor has met all contractual and administrative requirements, and overall, the estimated annual value of this contract is $75,000. This cost will be included in the FY16 school nutrition budget.
All right, thank you. Questions? Thank you.
Is this Bluebell, it rings a bell because we've had this in the news?
Yes, sir, it
Is this the same corporation?
Yes, sir, it is.
Wait a minute now.
They have
I think you gotta present a little
They've
bit.
gone through a recall, but none of the products that we use were involved in the recall or made in the plant where the recall products were manufactured.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Mr. Shaddix, you have item E.
Good evening. Ms. Fury, Madam Chairwoman, ladies and gentlemen of the board. Item E, the superintendent recommends that computers and associated peripherals needed for the school system be purchased from Bytespeed Computers of Moorhead, Minnesota. We were under a 4-year RFP contract with Bytespeed, which is expiring this spring, and it's time to renew. And after considering all the different options, we chose to use a contract managed purchasing national cooperative and buy the computers through that cooperative in the sense that they're setting the price, and this is a competitively priced contract. This is easing the ability to buy these products. We've been using this company for the last 13 years, and their service is the best I've ever experienced of any of the vendors I've dealt with over 13 years. And the price is very competitive. It's dropped over the last 4 years by about 15 to 16%. At the same time, we're increasing the component capacity, so we're getting a much better computer for less cost.
Any questions?
Do you have a differentiation between the 15 fiscal year and 16 as to what it'll cost?
We will be buying very few computers at the end of this year, but we'll be buying a few. And then most of that money will be in next fiscal year. We'll be replacing all the computers bought in 2007 and 2008 and 2009.
I agree, but what I see here, maybe I'm off course here or something. I see that we are spending fiscal year 16 money, and we just haven't done any decision-making in that regard. I'm baffled. You're not the first one.
The way this is written is there will be a few computers we'll have to buy this year. So the contract that we agreed to last spring expires this month. And so we need authorization to buy those few computers this spring. Most of that money will be spent next year. Some of it's coming from my general fund budget, and some of it will be coming out of capital projects.
I appreciate that, but should I be given the privilege to know what that is?
Yes, sir, absolutely.
Thank you.
But because the contract expires this month, we had to have reauthorization to buy the
Understood,
needed.
understood.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Item F, Mr. Barr.
Good evening. In item F, the superintendent recommends the annual renewable contract for an integrated business solution within the Student Transportation Department be awarded to Genuine Parts Company, doing business as Napa Auto Parts of Atlanta, Georgia. It's recommended to be renewed for an additional contract period. The effective date will be April 23, 2015, and the expiration date will be April 22, 2016. Since 2009, the Napa solution has provided the school system with complete turnkey management for all parts needs and inventory. The in-house store, which currently has an inventory valued at $252,000, was tailored to the vehicles which constitute the school system fleet. These parts are purchased only on a just-in-time, as-needed basis. All parts pricing is at a discounted rate averaging approximately 12%. In summary, the benefits from the utilization of the solution include eliminating the carrying cost of inventory, reducing transaction expenses, increased shop productivity, and an overall reduction in operational expenditures. The estimated contract value is $1,122,000, and this cost will be paid for with currently budgeted FY15 general funds and, upon approval, FY16 funds. And that concludes item F.
Thank you. Any questions? All right, moving on to item G, surplus items.
In item G, the superintendent recommends the identified items be declared surplus and disposed of per board policy DO. And those items are included in the memo for your review. And that concludes item G.
All right, questions? Thank you.
Yes.
All right, moving on. The next two items on our agenda, we do need to move on tonight. So, Dr. Lockhart, I believe you've got both of them. Item H.
Yes, ma'am. On item H, use of facilities at Cousins Middle School by Covington, Georgia Hurricanes. Superintendent recommends the approval of the attached application for use of facilities as submitted by Covington, Georgia Hurricanes. The principal is aware and supports the use of facilities agreement. And again, this is an item that we request action this evening.
All right, any questions? Do I have a motion to approve or disapprove?
So moved.
Second.
Motion to approve has been seconded. All right, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, item I.
Item I, the superintendent requests that the board approve the personnel recommendations made during executive session.
All right, do we have a motion to approve item I?
So moved.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. Any other matters of interest? All right, if there are none, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.